I started off in crypto in 2014. I used to work at a finance company, and I was looking at emerging tech and finance, and I discovered Bitcoin. So I started trading it, talking to coworkers about it in 2014. But it was just kind of a currency that wasn't that great at the time. So it kind of died down for a bit. Then in 2016, Ethereum came around, and I formed like a study group with a bunch of friends from different finance companies in 2017. And we would meet up every weekend in someone's office, read white paper, write on whiteboards, try to figure out what are these people talking about and what are the implications for the future of finance. And that's kind of when I got more in depth in the industry. And a lot of the friends that were in that group meeting on weekends, they went on to work for Coinbase, to Celsius, to a couple of different protocols within the industry. So it was a great time to meet each other and kind of grow together. Now, 2017, it just started to emerge. So I was still kind of experimenting, looking around. But it wasn't until 2020 when DeFi protocols started to really spring up that I started to pay more attention, investing in protocols, bridging assets, providing liquidity to lending products. And then in 2021, NFTs came around, right? So there was a lot of different communities springing up. And I was purchasing different assets, voting for different DAOs. And that's when I realized there was a lot of things going on here. So I did some consulting for a bit, project management for a blockchain called Godwoken. It's a layer 2 on Neuros network. And then after a while of messing around with ChainSafe's products, I ended up at ChainSafe working with their SDK and working as a DevRel specialist here. Hey, Ria.
Good morning.
Good morning. Nice one,
Ria,
Jay.
how are you doing? Ria, can you see you around? See you in a few minutes. Yeah, how are you doing, Ria? Yeah.
Stop. I'm okay. This is being recorded. Santiago, look at Santiago.
Yeah. I told everyone that I was playing a football tournament.
I know.
So, yeah,
Okay.
I just came here to say hi. Yeah. Ria, introduce yourself, please. It's pretty good to have you here as well.
Yeah, thank you. Santiago just messaged me like 5 minutes ago that this is happening and Jay is speaking, so I just came to say hi.
Thank you.
I just woke up. I am in Toronto. My name is Ria. I am the VP of marketing, DevRel, and design here at ChainSafe. I work with both Jay and Santiago. I'm pointing to two different sides of my screen because I see one up and one down. But that's what I do. Yeah, I'm really, really happy to be here. Community building is a big passion of mine, and I'm so glad to see this. And it's really nice to see both Jay and Santiago on a nice Saturday morning. And all of you too. Jay gave like a really nice introduction. Sorry, go ahead, Jay. What were you going to say?
I wasn't going to say anything.
Okay, I was just like furthering my intro. So Jay gave a really nice introduction. I'm like trying to take pointers from it. So my kind of journey in maybe I'll do a session, Santiago, at one time. Like Jay has convinced me.
You can be the guest in 4 Saturdays because now we are already booked for 4 Saturdays in a row.
There's no space for me. So after 4 Saturdays, you'll see me. And then I'll do a deeper dive into myself and community building and like how can we build better and bigger communities and be more like connected with each other and building around a purpose. Okay, I will wait until then. Santiago, I heard you.
Yeah,
I'll
for
be quiet
sure.
now.
Thank you, Ria. And Kodjo, how are you doing, Kodjo? Kodjo is from Togo. He speaks French. He's learning a little bit of English. So let's see, Kodjo, are you there? Are you able to give us some words in English today? Let's see. He already learned his intro in English. Kodjo, are you shy today?
I saw him come briefly on the screen.
Yeah, no, he's shy. Maybe he's not. Yeah, he sometimes he doesn't understand me. Kodjo Labore. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Let's take a selfie before I go to the next game. Who can take a screenshot? Who can take a screenshot from there?
Yeah, I've done that.
Okay, Malima, perfect. Okay, so it's mine. Count to 3 and then let's say yeah, take the screenshot. Count to 3. You do it.
1, 2, let's go. Thank you.
Yeah, you did it. Was good.
Yeah.
Wait, Ria, I didn't see the two, Ria.
Oh, I didn't see this.
That's good.
I always
Oh,
do
yeah.
this. I didn't do it. Okay, let's do it again.
Okay.
Okay, yeah,
Okay,
let's
1, 2, 3.
Give me time. Give me time. Wait.
Oh,
Okay.
oh, Kojo, you're back, Kojo. Nice to see you. Okay, Kojo is here.
Yes.
Okay, count to
Oh,
3.
Thank you.
Count to 3.
let's do with
Okay, again?
Kojo. Yes. Wait.
You did it or not? Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
it's fine.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Amazing. Kojo, can you introduce yourself? Kojo. I don't know.
Can you hear us?
I don't know.
Your
Let me
mic is
text him.
muted.
We always communicate on text. Maybe that's the
I
Speaking.
thing.
think he's muted.
Yeah, Kojo. I don't
You
know.
might,
That's
Santiago, you might have to unmute him.
I don't know. Everyone can unmute themselves. That's fine. Yeah, maybe he doesn't understand me. He's a little bit shy with the English. He's just learning English right now. Well, that's one of his goals when he joined the ambassador, to learn English. So yeah, the first meeting he was doing a short intro that he was reading in the translator, and he did it well. He did it well. Kojo,
Yes.
introduce yourself, please.
Okay. My name is Kojo Labole. I'm a full stack developer and a web 3GS ambassador. I have an event in 1 minute.
Okay, thank you, Kojo. It was great to hear you.
Okay.
Okay, I think then now, Malima, you can take like the lead on this. You have like the questions in the spreadsheet, so then you can throw those questions to Jay. No pressure, just feel like this is a conversation. Tell everything about your experience, and try to learn as much as you can from Jay. Specifically for the ones who want to become a DevRel or SE, like you love gaming, so it will be really useful for you too. So yeah, thank you so much, guys, for coming today, and also we'll see you next Saturday. We have Dmitry from Open Zeppelin. So yeah, join next Saturday. Thank you, guys. Was great to see you. Thank you, Ria
All
and Jay,
right.
for
Nice
joining.
to see you. Thank you. Have a good time.
Oh, bye, Santiago.
Bye.
Awesome. Thanks for connecting.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Welcome once again, Jay. So can you hear me?
Yeah, I
Can
can
you
hear
guys
you.
hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's nice. So I don't even know whether if we are going to maybe you do a bit intro about what's happening in gaming space, and then from there we dive into the question. That would be more better, so that we'll have like a kind of eye opener on what we expect. Maybe by then more question may come.
Yeah, I think that's fine. So I can hop right into it if that's cool with everyone. We're all good.
Yes.
Okay,
Fine.
great. So I think ultimately what we're all trying to do is get to a world where all of our data is essentially on chain. And the reason why we haven't gotten there is because at layer ones or even layer twos, data is expensive, right? It's expensive to publish to the chain. It's expensive for you to transact. But I do think that we all envision a world where games can be fully on chain. And when I say that, I mean that every single interaction that's done with the game, a player moving, even if it's real-time strategy, all of that data is being published immediately. And we're already seeing this with some of our partners that we're working with. They're kind of moving pieces around, data is getting published, and that enables a lot of cool, unique gaming experiences. So one of the things that enables is if all of the data is on chain, then people can do things like create their own custom interfaces for games. So let's say in real-time strategy games, has anyone played like League of Legends, one of those kind of games? Nope. Yeah, maybe. Okay. So the basis is you have. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
It's okay. So the basis is you have like 5 versus 5, and they're kind of like you're battling each other. You're trying to destroy like one team side. They're trying to destroy yours. But what I think is interesting there is that it's highly competitive. There's 100 million players every month, and people have gotten so competitive that they've created their own like apps that analyze the player's data. So before you even jump into a game, some people have apps on their computers where it'll show you like how good some player is, who they usually pick. So you can pick another player that goes against them that kind of counters them. And I think that's interesting because what we're going to see in Web3 gaming is people are going to create their own interfaces where we're playing the same game, but my game looks a little bit different than yours because I built something on top of the application that analyzes the on-chain data. And it sees, all right, maybe this guy is like always goes to the right or something like that on the field. So I want to counter this player before we even start playing. And I can have my own custom interfaces like that. And then that's like while we're playing the same game on a PC, but that can stretch over to different devices. So let's say you're playing a tabletop game with friends. You could also have a situation where I'm playing it on desktop and maybe my friend is on the subway and he's texting his moves. He says, I want to move my player from here to here. And all of that data is being updated and being reflected across all the interfaces. So I think that allows players to create their own applications, their own interfaces for the same games. And you're going to see guilds kind of that are like strategizing together, highly competitive, maybe for like resource building games. They're going to start creating kind of their own experiences for these games that are optimized for them. And there's going to be other people who create these add-ons and are going to sell it or license it to other players. So that's where it gets really interesting and creative. So that's kind of one space that I see going in. Any questions from there, that kind of subject as of right now?
Yeah. So, okay, the questions we have right now is so it's more of like on career transitioning. So the first one says, is it a good idea for a full stack developer to join a Web3 gaming company? How can they contribute effectively? So just like a kind of person being curious, trying to see, so what advice can you give the person on this?
So I think if you're familiar with coding, with full stack development, you're fully capable of transitioning to any other language. It's a matter of semantics, right? You have to learn the syntax for each language, and that will be a bit of a learning curve, but you're fully capable of transitioning over. I think it'll be an easier transition if the game is web-based, right? Because then you're going to be using similar languages. I've seen a lot of games built with like 3JS for like 3D objects in your games. Construct is also a game engine that you can build online with. That uses JavaScript calls in order for you to kind of interact with things. And you can use even Web3.js, right? So you use Construct to do your JavaScript, Web3.js for your like Web3 interactions. So it's more likely that it'll be an easier transition if it's a web-based gaming. They're doing WebGL kind of stuff, stuff with like itch.io. If it's Unity-based, it's going to be a bit more complicated, but you can still learn it. It's in C#. And there's a lot of different tools and libraries out there that you can make use. So yeah, if you're doing web-based, it's a lot easier to transition. And what I would advise is for you to come up with portfolios. I think that's a general thing that you're probably already experienced with. Test out a game, try to create something simple, and showcase that in your portfolio. And I think when people think of gaming, they think of the most complex thing that they can possibly do. But whenever I speak to gamers at conventions and developers, what I like to remind people of is Flappy Bird became a world phenomenon, and it's one of the simplest games. It's not like a World of Warcraft or Grand Theft Auto. It's you tap on a phone, you're moving up and down, and this guy made so much money and got so much publicity that he quit within a couple of weeks, and he was making millions of dollars. So that's where you want to be at. Think of the most simplest kind of game that you can make that your goal, publish it, and use that as your portfolio to transition into that career.
Okay, nice one. Thank you. Then I think there was a second question on that. He says, how can they contribute effectively?
When you say contribute effectively, are you saying to like an existing game? That I feel like that more so applies to open source. So I guess what's driving that question?
Yeah. So because the question looked more like it's all around. So I guess the person that asked the question may be here. So if you can put more context to that, that would be great. Yeah, the person can unmute and speak if that's fine, so that Jay need more clarity to the person. Okay, maybe we can come back to that later. Yeah, thank you. So the next question says, what are the easiest way to create Web3 game as a solo developer? People that like to build alone, what's the easiest way to create Web3 game?
So it definitely depends on your experiences, because I feel like I was learning full stack development, but then also learning like Unity at the same time. And Unity seems overwhelming when you're just like taking a first look at it. But I think you'll find that there's a lot of tools and a lot of like sample scripts out there that you can easily plug into your game. Even if you're not an artist, there's a Unity asset store where you can download all this art and then just place it in different places in your game. So it definitely depends where like the stack that you've learned within development. If you're just getting started and you know web development and JavaScript, I think Construct is super easy. They have a great tutorial on their website. It's kind of like drag and drop. You drag an image, then you like double click on the character and you're like, hey, I want to make him jump. So you just like toggle and now he has a jump feature, right? And then you want to build a platform. You just like place a brick here. That's like an image. You basically upload like a 2D image. And then you say, hey, whenever like the character touches this image, I want to make sure they don't go through it. So now I have like a floor for each one of these platforms. And you're not coding anything really. You're just like toggling through menus. So that's an easy way for you to get started to play around with like web game development. If you're more familiar, you can jump into like 3JS, like I mentioned earlier, for like your 3D objects, things like that. But I would say Construct is the low-hanging fruit for web development. Unity, if you have the time and you really want to get into gaming, I highly advise it because all of the indie game studios, they use Unity. There's great groups out there, meetups. That's actually how I've learned, is going to a meetup. So yeah, if you're web development, Construct. If you're trying to get deeper into it, take a look at Unity. And Unity has a lot of learning courses too. If you go to like, I think it's unity.learn.com or something like that, they have full courses that you can take. You don't pay anything for this. And they teach you from like day one, you don't know anything, to like full development certification. Like you can get a job based off their certifications.
Okay, that's nice. So I think you have answered the next question, but I'll still put it so that the person will know that yeah, I've attended this question. So the question says, how can you explain to someone that is planning to work in Web3 in a game as a Web3 game development, but the person is new in the Web3 space, if I get the question right? So I think that's the question the person is trying to, we should say something, but you can add more to that. Like a kind of transition, a beginner level to start a career in the Web3 gaming.
Okay, so your question was, how do you transition from a beginner to actually developing a career in this space, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so I definitely think the fastest way to speedrun this is join meetups for game development and attend one of those game jams. Participate in a game jam, right? It's the same thing as a hackathon. The only difference is game focus. So within a game jam, you'll find like an artist, you'll find sound engineers, you'll find developers, and usually they're sponsored by like Google, AWS. So they'll teach you specific workshops. That's actually how I learned, as I mentioned like a little bit earlier. I went to, there was an NYU game jam. I paid $5 and I spent the weekend like building my first like game. And it was like a virtual reality game, traffic kind of cop thing. And I was the least knowledgeable person there. All I did was move art around basically. And then I would sit with the engineer. I would look at their code and try to figure out what they're doing and stuff. But that's the quickest way to speed run this, is get involved in a game jam, meet a bunch of people who are doing this, and make them your friends, right? Your mentors. Kind of reach out to them, ask questions, get them to help you so that you can like learn all the things quick. Because if you're doing this on your own, you're doing tutorials and you'll learn one thing here, one thing there. But then if you go to these game jams, you'll meet someone who does this as a career and is like hanging out on the weekends and wants to do this. And they'll teach you, hey, like, all right, you can skip all that. This is how you do it the right way, right? This is how you code. This is how you like manage your art assets. So look for professionals that have already done this. You can find them on Meetup. I think LinkedIn's pretty good too with groups. A lot of people underutilize groups, but I found that I find a lot of tools and resources from people within these groups for like game development. They'll teach you about like what's the newest tools that are coming out that you can use within Unity or web development. But essentially, the answer is immerse yourself in the community, find mentors, and learn from them. And as you're building stuff and you're sharing it with these mentors, you'd be surprised at how many times people will be like, "Hey, I saw you did this project. We're hiring for this particular role. I think you did great at the art, or I think you did great at scripting." So it would be a great way to like transition you over. But essentially, you want to be in the community, be involved, be known for what you do, and make sure you establish those relationships, right? Because ultimately, that's how a lot of people get jobs, is through the relationships that they're forming.
Okay, thank you. I believe he has done justice to that question. So the next question says, are there some games that are currently uses Web3 Unity that are available to play? Maybe somebody want to just start playing game.
It's kind of tricky. There are some basic stuff, but what keeps me interested is the stuff that the tools are out there, but the pieces haven't been put together yet. But let's say for what's available right now, I mean, currencies, that's the basic one, right? So there's a couple of different games where they have their own currencies and they can be generated through, let's say, mining an asteroid or something like that. And you get like some gold, but it's gold specific to that game. So that's already happening. And that'll become interesting once we have a game that has a huge economy, something like Fortnite or Minecraft or Roblox. As of right now, I think the games that are like applying it, they're too small. They don't have big enough economies for it to be impactful, but it's just experimenting. So cryptocurrency is one side. The other obvious thing is NFTs. So if you own NFTs, you can easily basically look at the data on that NFT, see which assets you own from different collections, and then give you unique experiences or items. And we've already seen some of the NFT collections do this on their own. So I think like World of Women was one of them, where if you own the World of Women like NFT, then they issued sandbox skins to each one of their players, and your sandbox skin matched the NFT that you own. So when you go to play sandbox, you're one of the only people who have this kind of skin because of the NFT you own. So you can easily do that, and even that applies to like cars, guns, like any sort of like unique identity experience within gaming. You can look at their NFT data and give them some sort of special privileges. That's what's being done now. As far as NFTs going into the future slightly with this idea, you can do things where you branch into different story narratives. So I play a game that's called Boulder's Gate, and every single interaction you do with different characters, it unveils a different story, right? So like, let's say I'm talking to the wizard's trying to give me a mission or something like that, and then I like harm that wizard. Then other people in that village see that and they're like, oh, that's our like guy who's cool with us. Then the whole like village turns on me or something like that. So you can completely change the narrative. And when that becomes interesting is when, let's say we all enter a game and we have like different NFT collections. Let's say like someone's a Bored Ape, someone's like from World of Women, someone's, I don't know, from like Meebits. The game could be constructed in a way where it looks at each one of those NFTs everyone owns and then it puts you into factions. So you start into this story world and you don't know anything. And it's like, hey, we're at war with the Bored Apes because they attacked us. So then like whenever a Bored Ape sees you, they automatically see you as part of this other group or this other like faction within the game. And that's done by all of your previous decisions outside of the game that you had no idea this game was going to come about. It was going to affect my experience. But you start off day one in this game with a unique experience because of your past on-chain data. So that's kind of like one of the ideas you can do, but there's like, this goes into infinite paths of what you can really do with all this data.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, so the next question says, can you please give some roadmap, based on your experience going by web-based gaming to embark in the fully Web3 journey, and then make some entry into gaming, and how to track someone how can someone track their progress in this journey, like a kind of roadmap? How did you maybe like how the easiest way that you follow
So I kind of hinted at some of it earlier, is be involved in the community, grow relationships with people within that community, create a portfolio, a game, some low-hanging fruit. Even if you're finding people within that community are interested in game development, form kind of a little group, whether it's like on Discord or somewhere else. Start working on a game with them, something that you can put on your portfolio, because ultimately that's what people want to see. Can you do this? Can you actually execute? One of my first games that I worked on was like a really dumb like card game. And I gave myself a 3-month goal and I said, hey, all I want to do is press one button, you flip a card, you can read what's on the card, you do something stupid like with your friends or something like that. It plays one sound in the game, it has one animation, it has one of each thing that I need to have in a game, so I understand how each one of these things work. That was my proof of concept. I launched it on Google Play. This was like, I don't know, 6 years ago or something like that. And then anyone could download it on their phone. And that was my goal, is to say that like if I'm talking to someone and I'm telling you about my game, you can download it right now on your phone, right? So people see, if they go through that experience, they download it. And I had a friend do that. And he was like, hey, I had no idea you know how to code or anything, but I played the game and it works seamless on my phone. And then he left me a review. So people can start seeing reviews of your game, right? Other people talking about it. So you want to join the community, form relationships with people within that community, build something that actually works, right? If you want to be in the space, you got to be able to build, and you got to be able to prove that you can build these things. Build something, put it into your portfolio, and then, yeah, start reaching out to people within the industry. I mean, I've had calls where I didn't take it anywhere, but I've had calls with executives at like AR companies, because a few years ago, I'm like, maybe I want to go into augmented reality. And you'd be surprised how many strangers are willing to take your call. If you have a portfolio, you show interest in their kind of expertise, and you say, hey, I want to get in this, I just need some tips. I've had people that I see people like doing there's some lady doing a Childish Gambino. She's doing like Madison Square Garden like concerts with augmented reality in it. And there's no reason for her to answer my message, but she answered my message on LinkedIn, and I got on the call with her, and she gave me a bunch of like career advice. And she's like, hey, you build a game in AR, show it to me. I'm going to show it to people I work with. And at that point, I was kind of in between, like, do I want to do AR? Do I want to do blockchain and stuff? So I never followed through with that. But that was an opportunity right there, right? With someone who's never met me, who's a professional in the industry at the top of her career. And she was willing to take the call with a stranger. And I think you'd be surprised at how many people are willing to do that. But you have to come prepared, right? You have to have your portfolio ready. You have to understand what you're talking about. And you have to be excited about being in that career.
Okay, that's nice. Thank you for this. Yeah. So right now I don't have any other question, but I will have to do this because we do it always. So what are those things that keep you more, give you that joy while building, doing things that you can share with us to motivate us? Maybe love reading, love traveling, things that keep you, give you that vibe at all the time whenever you're doing your day-to-day job.
So I think for day to day, what keeps me interested and excited is being on the frontier of technology. So even since I was a kid, I consider myself a futurist, where I'm thinking about like, where is the future headed? What technologies are going to get us there? And how can I be involved in that process? So for me, I think I'm super fortunate working at ChainSafe, because everything we're doing is on the frontier. We're writing smart contracts that don't exist yet, that other industry professionals are using. And the interesting thing about us is that our foundation, we're R&D from, right? Research and development. So a lot of the things are being created by some of our teammates that don't have a specific use case in mind. They don't have a business case. We didn't build this because we were trying to make money. We built this because it's cool, right? And we're going to figure out how to make money with it. But to me, that's what's interesting, is building it because it's cool, then allows you to brainstorm all these different applications and all these different use cases. And for me, that's what keeps things exciting is, hey, this is a tool. What can we do with this, right? And like we did a application with like loot boxes, and it was built off of like a grant for Chainlink or something like that, but we didn't have a business case behind it, use case. And then within like the first 3 months of this year, we built an application where different game studios can contribute to this loot box. People can find this loot box around the venue, unlock it, get an NFT, and then they can find out about this game they never heard of. And now they have an asset to play directly within that game. Like that's an experience that really couldn't exist for like game studios contributing to one place and then people discovering that one thing, right? So to me, it's about learning the new technology, working with the professionals that are building basically the future, and brainstorming like, what does this mean? How can we build cool stuff with this? And maybe like sometimes that's in the form of like, I'll write an article about it, or just like kind of get into chats with the team about brainstorming sessions and trying to figure out where this is going. But for me, that's what keeps me excited, is being on the frontier of technology and having some sort of influence on it, playing with this tech and being able to like come up with these ideas.
Nice one. That's very good. So then are there books that you love reading that you can share with us? Maybe it will be something that maybe like a take home. Sorry to be asking this question, JL.
No. You can ask anything. That's what this is all about. I will say I'm not a huge book reader. I feel like books are filled with so much fluff that I'm just like, get to the point. It's the reason why I don't read fantasy. If you're reading this, Ria, if you're hearing this, Ria.
Yes, I'm hearing it. And I ran back to my laptop. I was like, what is he talking about?
Yeah, so yeah, I can't read something that's filler. I'm very like, I want to read something that's like practical, that I can use like right away, like information kind of based things. So
just for context, this is what he's talking about.
Yeah, so I'm not heavily involved in reading. If you want a good book though, that I thought was fascinating, and I think it's still fascinating about Web3 in general, Blockchain Revolution. I thought that guy that wrote that book, he was so far ahead of his time, because he wrote this book like maybe 10 years ago or something like that. And some of the ideas he was touching on still don't exist today. So he was talking about like ideas like black box identity, where you control all your identity online and you release it to different groups and stuff. And what he's really talking about was ZK proofs, basically like a decade before ZK proofs really like were in the mainstream. And it's still not really across our applications. So I highly recommend that book. For DevRel specifically, Santiago recommended me a book. I can send it to you all after, but that's pretty interesting too. It has a bunch of different frameworks. And recently, if you want, I can give you a list of like maybe 4 or 5 books. I attended a DevRel conference last week, and they gave us a bunch of different books that you should kind of pick up if you want to be involved in DevRel. Some of them focus on business. I think like one of them was like a 10-day MBA. It's like everything you need to know about the business side of technology, because for DevRel, you need to be able to speak to all these different professionals, not only understand technology, but understand what are products goals, what are they trying to achieve, how does business development work, how do they get their leads, things like that, how do you contribute to those things. So I can send you a list of all these books. See, Ria, you recommended something?
No, I'm saying that's the one Santiago recommended.
Yeah.
He recommended a separate one to me, but I can
another one too. Yeah.
The one he recommended to me was specifically for like DevRel stuff, like just frameworks and like how to approach DevRel.
This is DevRel marketing doesn't exist. Like it's the same one.
I think the one he sent me was like DevRel communities or something like that.
Okay. I think it's a similar author. Like when you search on Amazon, it's like kind of in the similar realm ecosystem.
Yeah, I'll need to pick that up too. So yeah.
Oh, you can have my copy. I didn't like it.
Oh no. All right, so
I'll give it to you when I see. I'm joking. I'll give it to you. I read it.
Okay, cool. So yeah, share that with me. And what games are you playing currently? Yeah, the most recent one that I got into, I mentioned earlier, was kind of Baldur's Gate. It was like game of the year last year. It's massive. It's super interesting. You can play with like 4 different friends. And what I mentioned is interesting is that like the story changes depending on every single thing you do. So like, and you don't know the backstories of these characters. So depending on what you do, it unveils certain things. So I was playing with a friend, and we bumped into this group where like they had some guy like caged up, right? And then you have to decide, like, are you going to help the guy that's caged up or like the people at the bottom? And then you don't have any context, right? Because they're like fighting and stuff. So then we decided like, hey, we think we should save this guy that's caged up, right? So then you get into a fight with these like people on the ground, and they're like, oh, he's like murdered a bunch of people in our village and he stole all this other stuff. But then you're actively already attacking them. So then you like change the storyline, because now the village thinks of you guys as like these invaders, right? And if you would have like sided with those guys, they would have got rid of him, and then you would have became a part of that village. So depending on what you do completely changes the game, and that's what keeps it fascinating.
That's great. Okay.
Wait, sorry, I did not get the name of the game.
Baldur's
Oh,
Gate. Give me 1 second. I can like send it to you. It's on game 3 right now. It's so
okay.
fascinating. I love it. It's such a good game.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So okay. So yeah, I think I don't have any other question. Ria, do you have anything for us?
I mean, if not, I can
Okay.
keep going on different game ideas, and if you want to like ask more questions, chime in and stuff, that's cool too.
Okay. Okay, you have more to share? You can go ahead. Thank you.
I mean, I have like an infinite like bag of ideas for like gaming. So yeah, I guess another thing that's been on my mind recently is gamers being able to deploy smart contracts directly in their game. So right now we're still having trouble with like game developers creating their own smart contracts. And what we're doing on our side, if you look at our like gaming dashboard, is we create a factory contract. And then whenever a user, let's say, wants to create their own NFT collection, what that does is it's a smart contract that makes other smart contracts, right? So you want your own NFT collection, it spits out all the data that you need to create your own NFT collection. If you want your own marketplace, the factory creates another contract for you that has all the details you would need for a marketplace. Now, where this gets really interesting is when you can have that happen, but directly in the game and have it deployed by a user, right? So let's say it's like an open world game where anyone can do anything. Let's say like a Grand Theft Auto or one of those like massive open worlds, right? What you could do is, let's say I decide the career I want to have in this game or the way I want to participate is I want to be a merchant. I want to buy and sell things, right? In most games, like you would have to code a lot of different things. The way this is going to happen in the future is I'm going to be a merchant and then I'm going to have a menu option where it says marketplace. I'm going to click deploy and it's going to deploy a smart contract so that whenever any other character is coming and talking to me, they'll engage with my smart contract and be able to buy and sell. And not only that, they can leave stuff with me, right? So let's say I'm like a marketplace. I have my own bazaar in this like weird open world game. They can like sell things to me, or they can list things on my marketplace that other players can come and find. So you would find me in some sort of forest. Maybe I'm like a dwarf or something like that, right? And I have all these assets that like other players gave to me, and I deployed that smart contract just by clicking in this like menu. It's on. It facilitates all those transactions. And maybe I'm a good salesman because like I give people deals here and there or something like that. So a lot of people come to me, and now I'm also making royalties on the secondary sales of that marketplace. So someone gave me an asset, maybe another character came to me and like they bought that like sword or they bought that armor from me. I take a cut of that transaction, and now I'm like this market within a digital space, and I'm facilitating these transactions. And that's just like one type of smart contract, right? There's other type of smart contracts, like let's say wagers or tournaments. Let's say in Roblox, you can make like your own kind of games, right? Like races or things like that, car racing games. You can have your own game built within these like open worlds. And let's say I designed horses and now I want people to horse race in this track that I built in like Roblox, right? What I can do is I build that track, I press my menu, I look at the smart contract for tournaments, I click deploy, and now anyone who goes to me can talk to me and be like, hey, I want to enter the tournament. They pay a fee, I get that fee, and now they can start engaging. And we're talking about reducing development time from months, maybe years for an individual person to clicks of a button. And I think that's going to be a really powerful gaming experience when the players themselves can launch their own smart contracts without knowing anything about code.
Wow, that's great. I would love to have that experience also. Yeah, it will be a good love to have that experience. Yeah. So I think we will need to have another section with Jay. How did you guys think? That's for me. I don't even know. Just beginning to create that love for the gaming space.
We need
So
to have a whole gaming session, like a whole online gaming session.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely all for it. If you have any particular things that you want to learn how to do, I think people will find it's a lot easier, especially our engineering team. We have a guy called Sneaks. He comes up with sample scripts for pretty much, if you look at our docs, the sample scripts are mostly written by him. So we're trying to figure out a way where we can design our docs so that if you want to do something, you can basically just copy and paste, change a contract address, maybe refer to a different method within it, and then that's kind of it. And then you can interact with games, you can start building. So we have a bunch of sample scripts up right now. And our goal is to make it easier and easier, right? So the next thing that we're doing, we're working on the side is marketplace. So this exact idea that I told you about a player being able to like deploy their own marketplace, in our next release, we'll have a sample scene that you can upload to your game that allows users to generate their own smart contracts for marketplaces. So it's super early. It's not even available yet, but it is something that we're actively working on.
Okay. Would love to have that. Yeah, that's good. Thank you. Any other thing from any other person? Emmanuel?
Yeah, none for me actually.
Okay. Aish?
Yeah, hi Jay. So I was thinking like, how do you think like AI and Web3 gaming can like collab, and what do you think of a future of both collabing, and what do you think in the current from the current market scenario perspective? What do you think? How will they move forward?
It's funny because I'm writing an article right now that I'm hoping to finish tonight about the future of gaming that involves all these different ideas that we're talking about. So this kind of helps. And yes, I thought about AI and how it's already going to impact it. So I think there's a few different things. So first is NFTs, right? A lot of people have been speaking about this whole idea that NFTs are interoperable and you can like use them anywhere. And it's kind of bullshit, right? Like we all kind of know it's like fake. So I think AI is going to change that. And the way I think it's going to change it is, all right, let's say you buy a game asset, right? From like your favorite game. I don't know, Bored Apes is just like the NFT collection everyone knows, so I usually reference them. But let's say it's Bored Apes, right? The problem right now is if, let's say I own an NFT from Bored Apes, and then I want to play this video game, and that video game wants to give me a custom skin or something like that. The current way to do that is the game studio themselves will have to like figure out which smart contract they want to support. Then they would have to, the same way that NFT collection did all the different layers for the profile picture, like they have different glasses, they have different like chains or stuff like that. The game developer would have to do that same thing, where they create, let's say, like a 3D chain, they create a 3D hat, and then depending on the data on your NFT, they swap them out. That process is very tedious. It takes a lot of time, and it's a lot of like work for the game studio to do. And it's not necessarily worth it, right? Like I'm going to create all these custom features for every single collection. Are these people going to play my game? I spent, I don't know, 1 million hours of like artist time. They cost money. Like, what is the real value here? So it's a lot of work. It's kind of a big hurdle. I think what AI is going to do, and we're already seeing this, is AI is going to allow you to generate the equivalent of your NFT asset in this new world, right? So let's say it's a 2D kind of platformer game, something like the old school Mario. I'm going to be able to grab my Bored Ape, put it into a generator basically, and it's going to say, all right, I'm going to take that image of your Bored Ape. I'm going to make a 2D like pixelated version of it so that you can use in this 2D platformer. It's not going to involve any developer. It's not going to involve any custom work. It's just going to take basically the IP and create it within that world. Now, where I think that gets really interesting is when you own the IP rights to that asset. So I'm not sure where the IP rights sit for Bored Apes, but there's certain collections where if you own that collection, then you own all the IP to that particular picture. So where that becomes powerful is when I create my own derivative artwork using these AI bots. So I have like a 2D version of my Bored Ape for a scroller game. Then I have a 3D version of it for Roblox. And then what I could do is once I have that image, I can mint, let's say 1,000 of that character. And then I sell that 1,000 of that character to other people. So other people playing this game, let's say if it's in Roblox, they'll be wearing my skin and they're going to be paying me a fee to basically license the IP, right, for that character. So it's going to create a whole new world where the content is being automatically generated, and it's going to allow the owners of the IP to make even more money and expand their personal brand. And some people are using this as their personal brand. They're like NFTs, their profile picture. So I think that's one thing that's going to happen, and I think that's going to happen faster than like a lot of people think, because these bots are getting better, and the discussion between AI and blockchains is becoming more interesting to a lot of people. So that's one portion of it. The other portion that we're starting to see already with some of the game studios we're working with is kind of AI agents. So one simple idea is like we have something up right now. It's called Muchan, right? And it's a merchant where, like, let's say if you have cryptocurrencies, it generates its own currencies and then it'll offer you trades, but it's a robot. So let's say I have, I don't know, like Ethereum or whatever, and I want this like weapon in this game. This merchant has all these different assets, and it'll make an offer to you, and you decide if you want to like accept that or not. But then the tricky part, because it's part of a game that like just to test out this stuff to see what we can do. The tricky part is 10% of the transactions he does with people, he robs them. So you can't really trust this merchant, right? So it was kind of like an experiment that we were working on just to see what we can do, and it is kind of fun because like some of our like coworkers, they're like, oh, I was trading with something with him and like I got robbed, and like he just like disappears from the screen, right? So what's interesting about that is that like you can have AI agents that are going to be trading on behalf of people. You're going to have people direct these AI agents to interact within games. Let's say if it's a war game, I'm going to say, hey, I want you guys to take over this like this area. And depending on the prompts, the instructions you give them, maybe they decide taking over this area means an airstrike, or maybe it's like people marching up or tanks or something like that. And then someone else on the other side could say, hey, I noticed that looking at this guy's on-chain data, he has more tanks. He's probably going to do tanks. So I'm going to train my bots to say, all right, as soon as you see them encroaching on you, start doing airstrikes in that direction, right? And then you have like these AI agents, these bots that are like protecting your property and stuff when you're offline and battling each other. So AI agents is going to be a massive thing. And then on the creativity side, like let's say I have like these basic resources. I have iron. I have like these basically minerals, right? I can go up to an AI agent and say, hey, I have these two different assets. Create me a new armor. And then it's going to get interesting because aesthetically, you can do anything you want within gaming. The only thing that really matters so that you don't mess up the economy and the balance of the game are the stats. How strong is this thing? How much can it influence the game? So you can have a situation where like you have a bunch of resources and you come to this merchant or this craftsman, right? And you're like, hey, I want to combine this iron with these jewels. And then he makes you an armor, but you're the only person in this game that has this armor because it was like AI generated, right? And you decide, hey, I want to buy this armor. And anyone else that comes up to this like AI agent with like iron or jewels, they try to do something similar. Their armor is going to come out completely different than yours. You can say like, I want a bird in the armor with this iron and these jewels, and it's going to create that new NFT asset for you. So that's like completely new experiences that I think we haven't seen that we're going to start to see over the next maybe 3 to 4 years.
That's an interesting perspective, I would say. Yeah, that answers my question. Thank you.
Yeah, so yeah, we have like 5 minutes to go. Ese, do you have anything? Ese, I think your network is frozen. Yeah, she always have this issue of network. So okay, okay, yes. Are you back?
Yeah, I am. I was saying,
Oh.
I cannot wait to play those games. I cannot code them, but I want to play them. So I can't wait.
I think you'd be surprised with the coding. I saw something this morning. I was getting ready and stuff. Claude AI. Claude AI is able to make a basic 2D platformer with just a prompt. You can say, hey, I want a 2D platformer and I want characters to shoot at me. And every time the character hits me, I want my life to go down 1. It creates all the scripts that you can copy and paste into a browser, and it runs as a game. So I think you'll be surprised, like over the next couple of years, how easy it'll be to make a game. It's going to be more so about your creativity, the themes that you're choosing, how you build your communities around these games. I think that's going to be the more important part.
Nice.
Um,
Nice.
okay. Yeah, for me, I've asked all my questions. So, Jay, do you have any other thing from your end?
I mean, there's so many things in this space. Yeah, I can go on for a while. We have 5 minutes. Let me see if there's something small. Let me look back at my article. That's like my work in progress to see just off the top of my head. Give me 1 second till I pull it up. Oh, money streaming. That's another topic. I just looked at my article. Money streaming super interesting. We've been talking to about this to different clients and stuff. We have 2 minutes, so I'll try to speed run it. But money streaming is the idea that like instead of, let's say, doing one transaction where I send you like you accomplish something, you do a quest, I send you money, you do this other thing, I send you money. There's a way for you to do money streaming where it sends you money every second as you're doing something, right? So think about games like Call of Duty where you have like domination or capture the flag kind of thing. I can have two teams where like we'll both deposit, let's say 100 USD. It's like a competition, right? As people capture the flag or they take over base, that money streaming from my team's wallet over to their individual wallets because they're like conquering these territories, and you can have that happen every second. In the case of like open worlds, you can have a game where, let's say it's a space game. You can use something like Chainlink's VRF for the minerals to appear in different asteroids all around this like space, right? So it appears, everyone gets a notification, hey, we discovered iron on this asteroid. So people have to move across the map to get to this. And whoever's occupying that asteroid for that given time, they're getting streamed the minerals from that asteroid every second, right? But then someone might come and they attack me, and now like they're taking over that territory. So now the money's streaming over to their wallet every second. So there's a couple of cool things that you can do with money streaming there.
Okay, so it prompted me to ask this question. So how will this strategy be used in real time? Maybe in the maybe in oil and gas or in other field that has to do with discovery of natural resources in different areas like this. Because I look at it, it's just more of like a something that is happening or can happen in real time.
Well, I don't think
This
that could really, I don't think that could really happen with like real world kind of stuff. These concepts
Okay.
are like for like these digital worlds where you're generating the assets and stuff, right? For the real world, yeah, I don't really know how it applies there.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you, Jay. Before we go, let me ask Ria if she is still here.
I'm here. I'm
Ria,
here.
are you? Oh, okay. So before we go, I want to ask if you have any other thing before we go, because our time is fast. And we really appreciate your time. You've been
Yeah.
from the beginning to the end. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
I love this motivation, because yes, we love to be having you around so that we know that yes, yeah.
I don't really have any thoughts. I think Jay did a really good job at summarizing anything. I'm looking forward to my session because it's going to be better, right, Jay? I'm joking.
Yeah. I can't wait to have that time with you, maybe in the next 4 weeks to come. Yeah, start 27. Yes, after 27 we have a free calendar. I think Santiago will do justice to that. Yep.
Yeah. It'll be good. No, I don't have, it was really nice to meet all of you.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, Jay, thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the energy. And guys, thank you for coming. And it's an honor to have this meeting today hosted by me. Yes, yes. Thank you, guys. So we end the meeting here. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you all for your time too. It was great meeting you all. We're all excited about the
Yeah.
ambassador program on our side as well. So it's great to connect with you. If you want to touch on anything Web3 gaming, feel free to reach out to me anytime.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes. We'll follow it up. Thank you.
Okay. Bye, Jay. Bye, Ria.
Bye. Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. See you soon. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Yes.
Okay. Bye, Malima. Bye, Ayush.
Bye.